Should I go?
No, just give me a minute. What are these stuck on? They're all terrain. They're brand new. Honestly, go ahead. I'm sorry about this.
Oh my gosh, no. You are fine. I totally get it. Totally get it. I was able to get out of these though, so I'm gonna leave those there. Good luck with your bike, by the way.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany and today we are transforming into Billy the Puppet, who some of you might also know as Jigsaw from the Saw films. This is part 1 of my 4-part Halloween series this year, so if you want to see what happened to me after I, casually left a saw trap that Billy set up for me, then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next Halloween short films and tutorials. Speaking of, we're gonna be jumping straight into it. I thrifted the blazer, vest, and pants. My blazer didn't have a pocket though, so Tim made me one along with a little pocket square, so that way we could just, stick it on. We just used a couple pieces of fabric to do so there's a nice little life hack if you already have a blazer but it doesn't have a pocket square. The gloves are from Amazon and I have my affiliate link for them and all the other products I use down in the description. I was filming a TikTok, which is why I already got in the wardrobe, but honestly I would just recommend getting in the outfit afterwards since, you got the buttons in the blazer, there's nothing that actually has to go over your head. So we slicked back our hair, put it in a cute little wig cap, and then we are going to apply the bald cap. To prep my bald cap for application, I grabbed my hair dryer and I just blasted it on high heat to just warm that up a little bit, stretched it out. I'm using Prosthetic to apply that to my head. I let that dry and then I just stick this down. Normally I'd wait to cut off the excess until after this is dried, but I was feeling zesty, I guess, so I went ahead and I cut off a little bit of that excess and then I cut out little slits for my ears. Billy doesn't have ears, so I wanted to still keep my ears covered, but I wanted to make sure I could hear and also not bust out my eardrums. As the Prosthetic is a little bit clear and tacky, that's going to be the best time for you to apply your edges. This bald cap was actually a little bit small for me, which was unfortunate. It's okay, it's fine, everything's fine. Biggest life tip for you is do not stretch your skin whenever you apply the bald cap. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I did it accidentally. It was enough to create some welts on my face, so don't do that. If your wig does not cover the back of your head, then you're probably going to want to get some help applying the bald cap. Thankfully, mine did, so I just had everything pinned up back there, but definitely keep that in mind whenever you are planning and prepping for Halloween. It's contact time, BB, and if you know me, I struggle with contacts so badly. I can never get them out of my eyeballs, but these are my new favorite contacts. They're from Gothika lenses. Go get yourself some. I can actually get them out of my eyeball, which is really exciting. It's the little things. It's the little things. I will have the exact ones that I used linked down in the description if you guys want to check them out. Next step is to apply the prosthetic, which we've already built, which I'm guessing that you probably want to know how we did that. So I'm going to show you. I streamed all of this live on Twitch, twitch.tv/TalesOfTlove if you want to come hang out. My streaming schedule has been a little bit interrupted because of all the prepping I was doing for Halloween, but we'll be continuing that soon. So if you want to see me fail at games, if you want to see behind the scenes stuff, I do a lot of my cosplay looks on there as well, then come hang out. It's a good time. So to make my prosthetic, I did use Manny 2.0. We cut him up in half. That sounds so violent, but it's just what had to happen. Okay, I don't know what to tell you, because yeah, I don't have a face cast. That is something that I definitely should do, considering all the looks that I do on myself. But listen, do not fret. If you do not have a face cast, you can still do this look. You could just do the build directly on yourself, but if you are looking to save time, then this is another fantastic option for you as well. I wanted to ensure that this prosthetic was going to come off of Manny 2.0. Did I say that's his name? I name my mannequin heads. You don't? You don't name your mannequin heads? Okay, weird. But I wanted to make sure that the prosthetic was going to come off, so I slathered him in Vaseline, and I went a little too hard. He ended up being really, really soggy. It was fine. We got through it, but I did go a little bit too hard. But at the end of the day, my prosthetic did come off, and that is what matters, I think. So to kick off the actual build, I'm just taking that liquid latex that I popped in a little what are they called? A cup? Why did I just blank on what that was called? I put the liquid latex in a cup to make my life easier, and I made myself a base layer. Our boy Billy has a receding hairline, so I'm gonna run that liquid latex pretty far back on my mannequin head. With this, I make sure to cover the forehead, nose, cheeks, and I bring that down to the sides of my chin, but I'm not doing the actual chin piece right now because Billy is a puppet. So I want those two pieces to be separate so that way I get more of that I'm actually a puppet effect. You don't have to be super precise with this, but I do recommend going ahead and being precise with the sides of the chin because, listen, I've just completely spaced and forgot to really clean that up. So mine ended up being a little bit crooked. This is me telling you just to go ahead. You know, make that little area look good so that way you can move on with your life for the rest of it and it'd be okay. Once I'm happy with my base, I'm going to start building up the nose first. I decided to do the nose first because that was gonna set my size like for the cheeks and the brow bone and everything else. So to do this, I just took strips of cotton balls, I unraveled them, and I laid one just down the center, applied some liquid latex on top of that, and then once I was happy with the size of the center of the nose, then I took one cotton ball piece, fluffed it out a little bit, ripped it in half, and applied both of those at an angle from the center, so that way I'm creating my own little nose shape. Repeated the whole cotton ball latex cycle until I was happy with the size of it. I went ahead and I did another coat of liquid latex, and then I used my finger to smooth everything out just a little bit, and a wooden spatula. The wooden spatula was super handy to be able to get that nice like bridge on his nose, his little like nostril flare situations. Once I felt like I was in a good place with that, I went ahead and I did the cheeks. For each cheek, I took one jumbo cotton ball and I fluffed it out, but I kept it in its little circular form. They just look like little tiny clouds on his little face, and I love it a whole lot. But I placed them down and then I built them out with liquid latex, and I also took a few more bits of cotton ball and latex to ensure that the cheeks blended with the rest of the prosthetic. At this point with the brows, you already know, same deal. I was able to use one cotton ball and just tear it in half, but I didn't fluff it out. I ripped it in half and just placed it down like little worms. And before applying any more latex, I kind of played around with it, got the main idea of the shape I wanted, and then I went in with liquid latex to blend it with a prosthetic, but also shape them up even more. I go in one final time with, you guessed it, liquid latex and tiny bits of cotton ball to ensure that everything is blending together and I have the general shape and vibe that I'm wanting, and then I let it sit overnight. And voila, we have the first part of our prosthetic. Could you just hear my dog sigh in the background? She's over it. I go in with translucent powder and I powder the shit out of our little buddy here. And then after that, I just go around the edges and I try to see what naturally wants to come up. As I'm doing that, I'm applying more translucent powder because I overly saturated my foam head. Manny 2.0's face absolutely disintegrated. I'm sorry. R.I.P. Manny. Gone but not forgotten. But it was no big deal. I was able to just like pick out those little pieces, use my little tools to scrape them out. That took like an additional 3 minutes or so to get them out. As you can see, it was rather mushy. Tim had to come in and experience it for himself, and I told him it looked like he was just like taking over and attacking Manny. So that's what you're experiencing there. And this is the moment of truth for me to actually try this on. Since I used a foam head, this is not going to be like an exact, perfect, custom fit prosthetic. This would fit more kind of like a generic prosthetic that you might purchase and have to do a little bit more blending with. But thankfully the proportions were close enough. The eyes were a little bit off, so whenever I was going in and tearing in the openings for those, I just kept placing it on my face to see exactly how everything was going to line up. And that allowed me to take an additional measure to kind of customize it to me a bit more. I didn't want to build up the chin until I knew that the rest of the face prosthetic was gonna work out, just because I wanted to have the exact proportions I needed for the chin in case I needed to bring that out more or bring it in. For this, I brought in the OG Manny. I'll usually use him for wigs, but I'll also use him for little individual pieces like this versus full face prosthetics. And the process is gonna be the same. I put down a nice little base layer of the liquid latex, and then I just build that up using cotton balls. For this, I placed little strips down for him. I was able to do that initial build, another layer of latex, get the general shape. To pronounce the little divot that he has in his chin more, I took tiny bits of a cotton ball and built that up with liquid latex. Then from there, it was just a give and take, playing with the latex and the cotton balls and a wooden spatula to shape everything up until I was happy. I also ran the base layer of liquid latex underneath the chin, so that way that could also act as another anchor point for me. With any prosthetic that you're making, you always want to make sure that it fades into a thinner layer of latex, so that way you'll have an easier time actually applying the prosthetic and making sure that it blends but also stays put on your face. Once you're happy with it, then you're gonna let that dry overnight, and it is finally time to paint this bad boy. You did it. You got through the most difficult part and also just really the most time-consuming part. So we are, wait, what's the saying? I was gonna say we're home sailing, but that's not right. We're on the home stretch. Is that what people say? God, I can't do sayings. Anyways, for the products for this, we are using Mehron's Paradise Water Activated Paints in black and white, Made You Look Water Activated Paint in cherry, Pur Cosmetic and RawBeautyKristi's double-sided pigment palette, Beauty Bakery's I'm with the Cookie Baking Crew palette, specifically the gray shade in that. And then I didn't show this, but you'll see it a little bit later. I also used Mehron's White Clown makeup, which is a cream makeup. So the dog started barking, so I got up to go see what was up. And whenever I got up, I slammed my foot into the doorway. So I may or may not have broken my toe. Like, it's swollen, it hurts, I'm in pain, I'm suffering. But it's fine, it's fine. Also, a new adjustment that you guys can't see, Milo has now perched up in my chair. So he's sitting behind me, and then Ripley, she's come underneath the desk and she's laying below me. So this really is like a full team effort right now. I couldn't continue without letting you guys know the drama. Okay, I don't know what you expect from me. Back to the point of this video, I did my base layer with the white water activated paint, and then once I was happy with that, as a spot concealer, I went in with the cream makeup. The cream makeup gives you a better coverage, but I like to use it sparingly because it's very, very messy. At the end of the day, use what you have, but if you're able to, I do recommend doing Milo just sighed. But if you are able to, I do recommend going in with the water activated paint, since that doesn't transfer unless you're applying water to it or something that contains water, aka sweat. So it isn't entirely transfer proof, but it's just a little bit of a better time. So it allows you to use less of the cream product, which transfers more and is a little bit messier to work with, but you still get good coverage. So you get to work smarter instead of harder. And we do love to see that. Next is shading and highlighting. So for the shading, I'm just using the light gray from that Beauty Bakery palette and a little buffer brush. I also went in with a shadow brush at one point, and I applied that anywhere where shadows would naturally occur if a light was looking directly at Billy the puppet. So down the bridge of the nose, underneath the eyebrows, down the sides of the face, underneath the cheeks, etc., etc. To highlight, I'm using the white shadow, and I'm using that to bring forward any spots that would be a little bit more highlighted if the light was right in front of him. So the tops of his cheeks, the top of his nose, his forehead, his receding hairline, all of the above. Going with the shadow also allows us to set our base. For the spirals, you could outline them first using the gray shadow, but I just went ahead and went for it. I went in with like a minuscule amount of the Made You Look cherry paint to get my initial spirals going, and I tried to replicate it as similarly to the OG Billy the Puppet as possible, just making sure that I had like the same spacing and whatnot. Then I took more of that same product and actually built up those individual lines. And you can see I took it section by section instead of doing just like a full swoop. Doing that just gave me more control. And as I went, I added imperfections along the way, so that way it looked very handmade, which I mean it is, so it's not like that was like the most difficult thing to do. But if you've seen the films, you know Billy was made with love, so I wanted to make sure that he had that perfectly imperfect vibe really going on. Same deal with the mouth. I got my base shape down, making sure that the edges were tilted up to get that nice little creepy smile without even trying. And then once I got my base, I went in and I messed it up even more. I went ahead and I applied it on the bottom lip of my chin prosthetic too. I got excited and I wanted to see him in his final form, but I ended up tearing that bit off and doing the bottom lip once I actually had the prosthetic on me, so that way it would actually look its best whenever it was applied to me versus just like laying on a table. And you have a prosthetic now. Wow, so magical. Before applying it, I'm gonna fill in any of the spaces that the prosthetic does not cover. So I'm using the NYX Cosmetics Jumbo Eye Pencils in the shades Black Bean and Milk. I place the prosthetic on my face, and while it's on, I kind of sketch out where those spots are, and then I just go in and fill in that space. Honestly, the spots around my eyes I could have just completely covered in black, but I wasn't sure just how far out I was gonna go with the eyes, so I did the white base and then I went in the black. But honestly, I would just recommend to go ahead and cover that entire area with the black, because it is a cream product and I don't want it to smudge all over the place. I'm setting it with black eyeshadow and white eyeshadow. Because of the nature of this look, you're not really gonna see the neck, but I still wanted to have something there so everything would blend together. So I used my white water activated paint to give the base of the neck and just kept that like very like long and skinny. And then I used the black water activated paint to outline that. And I'm looking at a close-up mirror, I'm looking far away to make sure that that illusion is there enough. and then I used the black to fill in the rest of that space, outlining like where his jaw and everything is gonna be. And again, because you weren't gonna see this in great detail, I just took a buffer brush and blended together the edge of where the black and white met, so that way it would create some really quick shading. I felt like I lost a little bit of the brightness with the neck, so then I went back in with a buffer brush and a little bit of the white paint to highlight the center. Nightmare fuel. Milo just burped. To finally apply the prosthetic to my face, I grabbed some Prosade and a disposable sponge, and I saturated the upper half of my face, so nose, cheeks, forehead, and then I apply Prosade all within the prosthetic, leaving out the little like dangly bits on the side that are gonna be going around my mouth. I leave that because I don't want that to stick to my face. I want that to stay straight down. So again, it helps with the illusion that we are actually a puppet. Same deal as the ball cap. Whenever the Prosade is a little bit translucent and a little bit tacky, that's gonna be the best time to adhere the prosthetic. I make sure that my eyes are aligned first, and then once I'm happy with that placement, I apply the most pressure on my nose, cheeks, and forehead. I apply the chin the same way, making sure that my little anchor point that I made fits nicely on my chin to where I can still move around without it coming off. To get the edges of the prosthetic to blend with everything, I applied little dollops of liquid latex, focusing first around the edges up top, blending that back as far as I was gonna need it to based on where my wig was gonna go. And then I took a little bit, and when I say little bit, I mean, listen, I know I have said little as my main adjective this entire video, but I mean like such a tiny baby amount around my eyes. You really don't want to put liquid latex around your eyes, so I'm not recommending that you do this, but because this build was not a perfect fit for me, I felt like I just needed a little bit of help in like the inner corner eye area. It was just lifting up a little bit more than I would have liked. So keeping a safe distance, I applied some right there in the inner corner. If you are going to do this, then make sure that the liquid latex you have is not super strong. But again, I am not recommending that you do this. Please do not put liquid latex in near around your eyeballs. Safety first, guys. Safety first. As it dries, I use this as an opportunity to go ahead and shape up my eyeballs. So I used my black water activated paint. I also went back to my NYX jumbo eye pencil and black bean and just went back and forth between those. I used a tiny detail paintbrush to be able to make those outlines so that way I could be really precise with it. I finished it off by setting it with black eyeshadow. I fixed this because whenever I was taking photos of the look, I realized that I did not fill in the spaces around my jaw with the black water activated paint, so this would be a good time for you to go ahead and do that. And after that, you can use this as an opportunity to go in and do some more shading. For me, that was specifically around my mouth and jawline. I just wanted to make sure that all of that was blending. My forehead is dry now, so we're gonna paint it. I'm taking my same water activated paint from Mehron and applying that all over. After that, I go back to the Mehron Clown White Cream Makeup, and I again use that as a spot concealer. Same thing as what we did with the prosthetic. Set it and forget it with your white eyeshadow, and then do your lips. I grab my Made You Look body paint again, and I connect the top lip with the rest of the mouth that will be on my chin. Again, I'm looking at reference photos to try to reference a similar shape, and once I have that down, I mess it up a little bit for the perfectly imperfect vibe. I went ahead and popped on my wig. This one is from Rockstar Wigs. Darkened my teeth with a Kryolan black teeth paint. Let that dry. Go back in with my body paint and a red eyeshadow to make sure that the lips are good. And we are done. Oh my gosh, we freaking did it, you guys. I know that was so much information. I'm really sorry. I try to fit in as much as I can in these tutorials, but it is difficult to cover everything, so if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And if you use my video as a guide to create your own Billy the Puppet moment, please tag me because I would absolutely love to see your looks. Thank you so much to everyone who helped me make my little short film. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're ready for the other short films and tutorials that are on the way. If you want to see all the TikToks and Instagram posts and all the other fun stuff, all of my socials will be linked down below, as well as all the products that I used. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're ready for more spooky vibes. We're just getting started. I'm so excited. I can't believe it that this is done. Oh man, I'm stressed. I'm also excited. And I'm also scared. I don't know, I'm feeling lots of things. This is the kind of content that I would love to make on a weekly basis, like doing little short films along with the looks. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you didn't. We're all about honesty here. And I'm just rambling, so I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!